Lucky in 71, the Miami Heat are your Season 1 champions.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the British Pokemon League show. We're back, it's Season 2, whole brand new season, new teams, new coaches, whole new shenanigans. As we always say, plenty more Pokemon still left to play. 10 weeks, 12 players of tip-toppity Pokemon action. And the pink hair, pink star now. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing really good. I'm really excited to get into the season. We've got an absolutely jam-packed show for you, as always. 6 unbelievable games to come through. Let's take a look at the schedule and what you can expect. On the West Division, we have got Bulu Boys taking on Slithering Sceptiles, last season's regular winners, up against one of 3 new boys in that division. Latvia's Miami Heat, last season champions, up against California Bastions. These two with a bit of history outside the British Pokemon League, so expecting this to be one hell of a game. And Long Island Gummies versus 200 Candies. Expecting big things from both players there. Silly with a decent playoffs run before. Candies, whole new player coming into this. We'll see how they do. And in the East Division, it is a repeat of Week 1, Season 1. Shadowkings versus Newcastle Thundurus. The quote-unquote big dog derby still to come your way. Then we've got the Celtic Celebis, one of our new players, Draco, up against Aaron Inglorious Efforts, who will be looking to bounce back after a disappointing playoffs run. And finally, we have got the Torstar Belgrade versus South Croydon Swords, which is exactly where we'll be kicking things off this week. Let's take a look. Obviously, these two, no head-to-head record, no season record coming into this. But we'll go over the team just ever so quickly and just talk you through. South Croydon Swords, one of our new players, new coaches, new teams. Crizzle, the coach of South Croydon Swords. Probably, as you would more focus in, there's a heavy Venusaur core of that team, but you can't sleep on anything else in there as well. You've got the Porygon Z with its adaptability and downloadability. Kabalion is there as well, which could be paired with Sneasel for some beat-up shenanigans. And of course, Octillery and the Machamp G-Max, both strong picks too. And the Togetic, you can't sleep on that, you know, with the Eviolite, strong picks all round. On the other side of the playing field, we've got Toadstar Belgrade. Didn't really have the playoffs run that they were hoping for. I think Jürgen Hopp was expecting much better, but he's went with the team that he knows pretty well. Keep an eye out for that Drapion with that Sniper and potentially a wide lens. Oh, sorry, not a wide lens, a scope lens can do some real big damage. And that Corviknight G-Max can not only remove screens but can also remove terrain really big. And you've also got Raichu, Rotom Heat, Serena, Umbreon, all great mons that can run either support or as special attackers or physical attackers. It's a low looking strong. This should be a really close game. So without further ado, let's get right into it and take a look at our first game. So there is the Venusaur core that we expected from Crizzle, but it leads to the line with Togekick and Porygon Z, which I don't think Weo was expecting, and Rotom Heat and Jellicent lead the line for Weo. So you know, mind games already. You know, the Venusaur is there, but it hasn't came. So whether Weo's got any sort of prep lined up for what was in the back, we'll have to wait and see. And the Porygon Z goes straight for its Dynamax. Follow Me comes out from the Togetic. There's the Thunderbolt. The Togetic does take that, but gets the Para off. The Para Hacks hitting into South Croydon Swords Togetic there, and then Max Lightning into the Jellicent. Gets the Electric Terrain set up for Crizzle. And there is the end of turn 1. No mons down just as yet, but that Para could be quite big on the side of Crizzle. Togetic not needing that, but you know, that Follow Me, if it does land, if he doesn't get stood still by the paralysis, could be really big. That Water Spout not quite working out for Weo, unfortunately, with Jellicent being hit there. Jellicent swaps out and in comes the Serena. Protect comes out from the Togetic. There it is. The Thunderbolt gets blocked by that Protector. Great pick there. And Porygon Z takes out the Rotom Heat. First kill goes to Crizzle. First kill of Week 1, Season 2 of the British Pokemon League goes Crizzle's way. And in comes Corviknight, Weo's G-Max pick. Corvi might be good with the nicknames. Weo, the absolute king of nicknames, as per usual. Now, this thing could get rid of that electric terrain, which is going to, you know, put a stop to Porygon Z getting those attack buffs on its electric moves. Speed drop has come out onto Serena as well, thanks to that Max Strike. There is the Max Lightning. Corviknight does tank that, takes about half health. The G-Max Wind Rage does take out Togetic, and it's now 3v3. The tried jump kick though, it misses, and Serena goes down to half health. Not exactly the turn Weo would have wanted there. That's not good news. And Porygon Z stays on the field. What has Crizzle got in the back? Porygon C still sat there at almost full health. It's just stayed here since turn 1, and in comes Octillery. Now Octillery, depending on what ability it could be running Sniper or potentially Moody. We know just how strong Moody can be. Obviously, Octillery was a thing in Season 1, but unfortunately Gus never electing to bring it. Porygon C. So there's the Thunder from the Porygon Z. It does land, but Corviknight managed to tank it. The Max Steel Spike into the Octillery does buff the defense with Pokemon and the Corviknight. And the High Jump Kick does land, and Porygon C is gone. There's the Flamethrower on the Corviknight as well from Octillery. Corviknight just about hanging on. Octillery obviously not getting that stab bonus from the fire move, and in comes the Machamp. Machamp, as we know, big hitter for in the second half of the season for Season 1 for Latvian, so hopefully Krizzle's going to be able to use it to his advantage. Obviously, he's already bent his Dynamax, so we won't see that. But there's the G-Max Windrage into Machamp. Machamp does manage to hang on. It's the weakness palsy Machamp as well. The triple axle in the Machamp. Is it going to finish it off? It is! And Octillery's got it all left to do. There's the Flamethrower, which is going to take out the Corviknight. And it is now the it's the Serena and the Jellicent up against the Octillery to see how we're going to finish this game 1. Octillery with it all to do. Obviously, it does have that Flamethrower, which Serena's not going to enjoy taking, but it's whether Weo has a Power Whip or other grass move on that Serena to be able to take out the Octillery. There is the Strength Sap from the Jellicent, gets its health back up. Then the triple axle on the Octillery. It's going to resist that. It's not going to do massive amounts of damage, but does hit the 2-ton. There's the Flamethrower, but Serena just about hangs on there. Very, very, very close. Could this be Jellicent versus Octillery? The standoff we never thought we'd ever see in the British Pokemon League. There's the Water Spout on the Octillery. Does manage to attack. Obviously, he's going to resist the High Jump Kick, takes it out, and Weo takes game number 1. Gets the 1-0 lead over Krizzle as we move on into game 2. Can Weo close this out and get the 2-0 win? Or is it going to be Krizzle bringing us back? Pretty similar lineup, same lineup for Krizzle, the Porygon Z and Torchic. At this time, the Serena lines up alongside the Rotom Heat. Try and get something going for Weo to try and close this out. The follow me goes out on the Torchic. There's the Thunderbolt again, same repeat as time 1. High Jump Kick at the Torchic resist. It does at least hit. The Trick Room comes out from the Porygon Z. Now this could work perfectly into Krizzle's favour, with the slower team. You see that Octillery, if it is in the back again, could be running pretty slow, or maybe the Torkoal is hanging around. There's the High Jump Kick. Porygon Z does manage to just sort of hang about. Thunderbolt takes out the Torchic though, and Rotom Heat manages to stick around, but does end up going down. Trade on both sides, and Porygon Z just about hanging around on 2% HP. Serena still on 100%. And it's 1 apiece. In comes the Octillery with the Rain already set up, and there is the Corviknight G-Max from Weo, which proved to be so strong in the first game. Octillery is set up in a perfect position here with that Rain set up if it's got a Water Spell kicking about, and the Trick Room. There's the Corviknight going for its G-Max. There's the Water Spell from the Octillery, expecting it takes both down to just above half HP. G-Max Windrage into the Octillery. The High Jump Kick misses though on the Serena, and that is just what happened. There's the Thunderbolt. From the Porygon Z, and Corviknight also down to 35% HP, so it's evens on both sides here. This could go either way, but obviously Krizzle with that speed control could be quite useful in this situation. He's got the cards dealt him on his table. He knows what he needs to do, but does he have the strength to do it? As a famous Star Wars character once said. There's the Octillery going with the D-Max this time, changing up. There's the Max. Guys, hit the Corviknight. Corviknight goes down thanks to the Rain. I Jump Kick the Octillery. Octillery just tanks that. Goes for the Gambo and that missing, but the Tri-Attack does take out the Serena. And, oh god, the Jellicent has it all to do against Porygon Z and Octillery. There's a Max Overgrowth into the Jellicent. Jellicent does tank that and gets the Grassy Terrain at the Water Spout. It's going to take out Porygon Z. What has Krizzle got in the back here to potentially try and even things up? Can Jellicent get anything going here? There's the Machamp as expected. Machamp comes to play. Obviously, we are now aware that that thing has the weakness policy. to tie us up at 1 apiece in game 1 of week 1. There's a strong step onto the Machamp, gets Jellison back up to full health. The Darkest Lariat into the Jellison. There's a max overgrowth, and that is going to tie us up. Octillery getting the killing blow, and it is now 1 apiece. We go with game 3, week 1, game 1, match 1. Already 7 us up. An absolute delight. Incredible game so far. Going right down to the wire, and this time Corviknight and Drapion lead the line for Weo, and it's the same lineup from Crizzle, Porygon-Z and Togetic. Now, as we said, it's one Pokemon, so watch out for the Drapion on Weo's side with that Sniper, and obviously gets the cross poison ability, and if it's got an item that buffs its chance at getting crits, that Drapion is going to be hitting so hard. Is we are just going to unleash hell with this Corviknight straight from the off. Are we going to see that? The Porygon-Z does Dynamax again, so Crizzle going back to his game 1 strat. Corviknight goes for his G-Max. Protect comes out from the Togetic, which stops that cross poison going off against the Drapion. And there's the Max Lightning from the Porygon-Z. Corviknight is going to just tank that, but does get the Electric Terrain set up. Max Steel Spike goes into Togetic, but that's not doing much, but does get that defensive buff for both Corviknight and Drapion. So Drapion, it has the type advantage over Togetic as well as Corviknight. Corviknight obviously has that steel attack, so Togetic's in a bit of a spot here, but that Porygon-Z now has the Electric Terrain up, and Max Lightning and Terrain on Corviknight is going to hurt. Even with and the Togetic withdraws, in comes Machamp. There's the cross poison, and Machamp does not get the crit, does about 30% damage to Machamp. There's the Max Lightning. Corviknight does hang on though, and there's the Max Steel Spike, gets the crit into the Porygon-Z. We are getting the crit probably in the wrong slot there, but there's the 2 times defense, so that's going to work out really great to for Machamp here. Machamp obviously a heavy physical attacker, so Weo's, he's catered for that. What has Machamp got in its locker? There's the Max Guard, comes out from Corviknight. The cross poison doesn't get the crit again. Machamp hangs on. Max Lightning gets blocked by that Max Guard. The high horsepower into the Drapion. It does manage to hang on. Both the Dynamax and G-Max end, thankfully. Well, not thankfully, but they both end at the same time. So back to level playing field in that regard. Corviknight still just about hanging on. You can't quite see behind the nickname there, but it is on about 34% or 24%, sorry, HP. Pretty evens once again, Corviknight and Machamp roughly on the same amount of HP. Drapion and Porygon-Z both on just about the same HP as well. Machamp though, I would imagine would have a fighting move, which Corviknight's not going to enjoy taking if Porygon-Z can at least get into it. There's the cross poison, does get the crit this time, and Porygon-Z goes down. The Roost comes out from the Corviknight, and there is the cross chop from the Machamp, and Corviknight goes down, does get the crit. I don't know how important that might have been with that defense buff, but Corviknight does go down, does get the trade. Porygon-Z for a Corviknight, I think that's pretty fair. As we move on into turn 5, Togetic does come back in, and there is the Rotom Heat. Electric Terrain set up as well for the Rotom Heat. How big could that be as we come close to the end of this first match? Follow Me comes over the Togetic. There's the cross poison. Togetic manages to just tank it though. There's the Thunderbolt. Togetic goes down for his troubles. Can Machamp take out one of the others? Stone Edge comes out and takes out the Rotom Heat. Another trade as we've got a 2v2 to end this game number 3. This is going right down to the wire. Jellison comes in. Torkoal comes in, gets the drought set up. That Jellison's water type attacks are completely just stalled out by that Torkoal now. And we know just how strong Torkoal can be. Absolutely putting on a clinic in Season 1 for Miami Heat. Drapion, as you said, still with that defense buff, but there is the cross poison. Does get the crit on the Machamp this time. Machamp goes down. Torkoal with it all to do. Super effective water spout, full health Jellison. It doesn't quite take out the Torkoal thanks to the sun. Air power comes out from on the Drapion from the Torkoal. It is a 1v1 Jellison versus Torkoal. I think this is going to be a GG though. Obviously that Jellison does have the speed, and even on the sun, the water spout's going to do enough, and there it is. Match number 1, sorry, going to Toadstar Belgrade. Absolute scenes right there and then from Weo. A great win to kick things off after the disappointing playoffs campaign for him. And we're going to hear from the man himself right now. If I can just throw it to an interview with the man himself, Mr. Hop. I'll just try and get him on the old blower. Mr. Hop, how are you?
Hello there, Mr. Star.
Hello,
I
Mr.
am quite okay.
Great to hear from you again. How did that first match go for you? You get the win, starting off strong as opposed to last season. How are you feeling?
Well, Mr. Star, I've always said that winning breeds confidence, and you know me, I am the biggest breeder in the British Pokemon League.
You're well known for it, yeah.
Of course, you know I have a massive chub and a massive will to win.
I was gonna say not the only thing that's massive, but there it is. So you get the first week. Was it ever in doubt that win over Crizzle then, or was it just, you know, did you have a game plan going into it? Because it seemed pretty likely that Crizzle was going to bring the Venusaur, but then it doesn't even turn up.
Well, you see, Mr. Star, there was a lot of plans in that game, and none of them were needed. Crizzle actually brought an inferior team to what I was thinking he would bring.
Wow.
And truly, my managerial quality shone through.
Yeah, the completely outplayed that Corviknight, really coming in clutching. Rotom Heat did do its bit every now and again before it got taken out. So that's as we said, it's a great start for Mr. Hop and Co. How do you think this season is going to go then? Obviously, we didn't get a chance to speak to you during pre-season. How are you feeling for this upcoming season? Is there anyone you're concerned about in this league? Any other coaches? Obviously, Dogsy, speaking of himself pretty highly going into this, has already predicted that he'll win the thing after he made the prediction of making the losers bracket run. So what do you have to say to that?
Well, Mr. Star, I was on the beach in Ibiza when I got the news through on my phone. That he has been talking some smack about this league, and all I have to say is, what a terrible player. You know, unsportsmanlike, absolutely disgusting. You would never catch us, you know, an actual good team like Toadstar Belgrade talking like that.
No, of course not.
Born winners, you see, don't like to brag about how they're going to win.
No, definitely not. The Pistol League comment must have been someone else.
Exactly. You know, there are a lot of frogs out there. You may have interviewed the wrong one.
It's easy
It's
mistake
a good thing I'm a toad, though. Yeah, and obviously, you know, you've seen his lineup. Can you really say it's a winning team? You look at it, you think he's got the Ditto, so he's already doubting himself. You know, he's using my Pokemon against me.
Yeah,
I just don't see him doing well this season, Mr.
We know
Star.
how that worked out for you last season. Obviously, you know, it was a very how should we say, a controversial game between you two last season. Do you have any thoughts on that and how that might affect things going into the season? Is there any bad blood between you two, or?
No, not at all, Mr. Star. There's no bad blood. It's just I think he is an abysmal human being.
Wow, that's strong.
I can't believe he would spend so much money to try and win a stupid Pokemon tournament. The fact that he bribed Pokemon Showdown themselves.
I mean, that's not for me to comment on.
Such lows.
So obviously, Dogsy has your next week's opponent coming up today. He's got Big Dog Dave, Big Dog in the Big Dog Derby, and Newcastle Thundurus. Said you play Dave coming up next week, and Dave seems to have put together a pretty strong team. Do you have any thoughts on your game next week? As there's a hotly contested derby game, and it was another game last season that was a little bit of a controversial one in terms of, you know, luck and RNG.
Well, Mr. Star, in this business, although I would say that there is such a thing as luck, there is also no such thing as luck.
Okay.
Big Dog Dave, he has a good team, but is the management really there? You know, he's got on his dancing shoes. Does he have his dancing brain? That's the real question, Mr. Star, and I don't think he does.
That's a very question. Is he really that big of a dog?
Many would argue he's actually a Labradoodle.
Wow, just a little, like a pug.
Yes, from the scouting reports, you see.
Yeah. Okay. So, how do you think this game later on is going to go between them, and how does that affect your preparation going into next week?
Honestly, Mr. Star, we will be taking no mind to this game. In fact, I'm probably not going to watch the rest of the show. We don't care. We're going to win. We don't need some pink-haired man to tell us what's happening.
True.
All we know is we're going to piss the league.
There it is. There's the comment. Well, that's all I've got time for today, Mr. Hop. It was lovely to hear from you, as always. And we will catch you another time. Thank you very much for your time.
Of course, Mr. Star. I'll hop to it, as it were.
And that was Mr. Hop there with some strong words for his opponents for next week and for Dogsy in the league as a whole. Speaking of Dogsy, speaking of that big dog derby, we have got that game coming up next for you. As we just said there, Dave has put together quite a strong team. I'd argue stronger than last season's team coming into it, but you know, it's whether he can put together some wins with this team, which I think he'll be able to. That insane Lando double intim duo could be really, really big against any physical teams, which Dogsy so happens to be, so I'm sure Dogsy's got to have something in his locker to be able to count this. Don't sleep on the likes of Hatterene and Klefki. You know, Klefki with that prankster ability. We know how strong Hatterene is from last season. We know it's not the G-Max Hatterene, but it's still equally as strong. Lantern has obviously made its return in this team, so you can't sleep on that. And obviously there is the potential for the Venusaur with the Ninetales, that drought ability could proc the Chlorophyll on Dave's side. And on the side of Shadow Kings, obviously last season's third place team put together a pretty damn strong lineup. We've already looked at it in pre-seasons. We don't need to go over it too much, but obviously he needs to have something in his locker to be able to stop that double intim going off. Not too many special attackers there, but if I know Dogsy like I know Dogsy, he has something up his sleeve to be able to take him out. You know, some pretty unconventional picks, but that's not to say they're not strong. Obviously, Salamence is a one you see very often. Altaria, Linoon as well. I mean, not that you wouldn't expect Linoon to do much, but I've seen Sans Belly Drum Linoon. This thing is nothing to sleep on, especially with Dogsy at the helm. Anything could happen. Without further ado, let's take a look at game number 2 of week 1. It is Shadow Kings versus Newcastle Thundurus. And there is the Lando and Insin lineup. And there is Lando Insin leading the line for Dave. And Salamence Comfy out for Dogsy. There is the double Intim. But the Intim comes out from the Salamence as well. Drops the Insin and the Lando's attack stats, which could be really, really big. Now, is Dave going to go straight for trying to drop those stats, you know, get the parting shots, the U-turn, the Intim rotation? Or is he simply going to just keep Landorus out, get the Dynamax up, try and get as much damage off as he can before any more stat drops come in? Obviously, that Salamence is looking pretty big. There's the Salamence, goes for its Dynamax. The Draining Kiss comes out from the cover, a proc, a weakness policy of the Salamence. Undoes all of that attack damage from the double Intim. Rock Slide misses the Comfy, but does hit the Salamence. Is not going to care too much. Max Airstream Instant just about hangs on, but it does get the speed buff. Citrus Berry does prop the Instant, and there is the parting shot to drop Salamence's attack once again. Does have that 1.5 times special attack still, and obviously the speed. Ninetales comes in now to get that Sun up. Dave not going for the Dynamax just yet, just biding his time. See, Lando, as we just said, does have that attack drop, which could be quite important. There is the Horror Healing, just keeps Salamence going. There's a Max Geyser on the Ninetales. Ninetales does hang on thanks to Sunbeam up, but it does reset the weather, so no Sun for potential Venusaur coming in. Rock Slide does hit both Comfy and Salamence this time, but it's just not doing enough with Landorus' attack drop. That Intim on the Salamence could have proved really, really huge. I don't think Dave would have been expecting that. Obviously, Salamence does have that Moxie ability, but Dogsy has turned that right around on Dave, and we saw triple Intim leading the line on turn 1. So obviously in past games, usually these games between these two go for quite a lot of turns. So we'll see what happens. Draining Kiss comes out. Comfy heals himself a bit. Max Airstream goes out from the Salamence. Venusaur's got the Cobra Berry, but it's not going to matter. Venusaur still goes down. Salamence gets another kill. There is the Max Airstream from Landorus on the Comfy. Comfy doesn't go down, but it does get the speed buff on the Landorus. Comfy eating its berry as well, just to get some of that HP back. Salamance's Dynamax does end, and Landorus now has the Dynamax. Ninetales swaps back in to get that Sun, but no Venusaur to get any sort of, you know, advantage from that Sun. So how's that going to play into Dave's hands? Obviously that Salamence is slugging so fast now. Floral Healer comes out, gets a Salamence back up to full HP. Hydro Pump into Landorus. Landorus doesn't really care too much about that. There's the Max Rockfall onto Salamence. Salamence tanks that surprisingly. There's the Heat Wave. Salamence and Comfy both still hanging on. And the Sandstorm damage does finally take out the Salamence, so Dave finally getting one of the Mons down. Comfy still hanging on with 4% HP, obviously with that triage ability, any healing or drain attacks will go first to have priority. And in comes the Urshifu Dark on the side of Dogsy. Obviously this is Dogsy's Gigantamax pick. Not electing to use it as his Dynamax there. Great use of Salamence with the self-weakness policy proc via Comfy. Really good stuff from Dogsy. And Ninetales swaps out. In comes Insyn to drop that Airshrew attack. A good switch in for Dave. A nice idea. The ally switch comes out from the Comfey. The Sucker Punch fails from the Airshrew. And the Max Airstream is going to take out the Comfey. And there it is a 3v2. Landorus's Dynamax does end. Has now got that speed buff. The speed buff, sorry. Clefairy now comes out on the side of Dogsy. You got Clefairy, pretty standard follow me user. Running with that Eviolite. Sandstorm still up thanks to those max rock falls. Fake Out comes out on the Clefairy. That's going to stop any follow me. There's the fly from the Landorus, and the close combat does take out the Insyn. So Airshrew getting a kill on the board, and Landorus flew high up in the air. High. And there is Ninetales coming out to reset the weather, stops that Sandstorm and stops that chip damage coming out from the Sandstorm as well. Some smart stuff from Dave trying to keep himself in it. See, Landor versus Airshrew is the sort of the big one here you would expect them to be doing. But there's the Follow Me comes out. Sucker Punch comes out from the nozzle of the Airshrew. The fly's going to hit the Clefairy and not the Airshrew. Great call there from Dogsy to stop that fly from doing any damage. If that had hit the Airshrew, that inevitably would have been it. I would have thought Airshrew wouldn't have enjoyed taking a flying attack. Helping Hand comes out from the Clef. There's the Earthquake. Airshrew and Clef both tank that. And there's the Wicked Blow onto the Landorus. Dogsy takes game number 1. Is he going to get his revenge for Season 1, Week 1? We move on to Game 2. Gliscopod lead the line this time from Dave, and Salamence come there once again from Dogsy. I would expect we're going to see that Draining Kiss Weakness Pulse proc just for Salamence just to get things going here. That Intim drop on the Gliscopod could end up being really huge. Obviously Dave, I would have thought, hoping to use that Hatterene to his advantage, get, you know, maybe Dynamax it and get some a Max Starfall off. And there's the Salamence's Dynamax. The Dynamax of the Gliscopod though, that's not something you ever see. The Gliscopod does go for its Dynamax, but it's going to be moving so slow. There's the Max Airstream from the Salamence, and Gliscopod just goes straight down. Did not stand a chance, and Dave's Dynamax is bent already. Dazzling Gleam does come out, and that does a lot of damage to Salamence though. That could be really huge. Even though Hatterene's moving, you know, the slowest, it could still do a bit of damage. Intim now swaps in to get that Intim off and get the attack drop. Intim can obviously get a Fake Out off here, but it'd make no odds on the Comfey. It's going to be moving before a Fake Out here. You've got to think that Dave maybe should have been looking to Dynamax that Hatterene there. You know, a Max Starfall could have really done the work on Salamence and stopped it from running house like it did in Game 1. So we'll see how that affects the rest of this game. There's the Floral Healing on the Salamence. The Max Geyser takes out the Insyn. Insyn doesn't even get to do anything. And the Dazzling Gleam does take out the Salamence. Citrus Berry gets Comfey back up to what, half HP. Hatterene does get itself a kill, gets itself on the board, and does stop that Salamence from doing any more damage. But 2 Mons down already for Dave. It's a 3v2 for Dogsy. And in comes the Venusaur. Obviously no rain. No rain to get that chlorophyll up, so Venusaur is not going to be moving particularly fast. Ally Switch comes out from the Comfey. There's the Iron Head in the Hat. The Hat does tank it. The Sleep Powder comes in, but it misses the Airshrew. And there is the Trick Room. So Dave getting that Trick Room off, that could be massive. That could be really huge for Dave to get this back. Sleep Powder missing though, that could be, you know, that could have huge implications on how this game goes. Obviously Dave does have a chance to get it off. Yeah, apologies, yeah, I did mean no, son. There's the Cliff swapping out. The Draining Kiss comes out on the Hat, and Hat is down. Venusaur now with it all to do. Sleep Powder does hit this time, and Clef goes to sleep. Comfey and then a Sleep Clef against Venusaur. What can Venusaur do? If Venusaur can just chip away at maybe these two while Clefairy's asleep, Dave can maybe hope that RNG is on his side, get that Clef asleep for a few turns and try and take it out. Draining Kiss comes out on the Venusaur, but it's not going to really care too much about that. Clef stays asleep this time, and the Sludge Bomb, sorry, comes out, and the Comfey just about hangs on through that. Unbelievable that it lived it. Comfey is so tanky to survive that. Venusaur with all 2, there's just the Draining Kiss again, just keeping Comfey around. Clef wakes up though, that could be big. The Moonblast hitting into Venusaur, again, not really doing too much. There's the Sludge Bomb onto the Clef, that could be really big. Obviously Venusaur has type advantage over both of these Pokemon, with 1 turn of Trick Room still left to go. If Dave can take... There's the Floral Healing on the Clef, though. The Moonblast into Venusaur. Venusaur's not really caring about that. The Sleep Powder puts the Comfort to sleep, and Trick Room ends as we move on into turn 8. After it was looking pretty much all but over after that first 2 turns, Dave still finds himself in this game with a legitimate chance to actually win. Protect comes out from the Clef. Comfort asleep. Sludge Bomb, though, into the wrong slot, and Clef protects and stops itself from going down. As we move on again now to turn 9, Comfort stays asleep. There's a Sleep Powder on the Clef as well. So 2 Mons asleep. Dave now can, all he needs to do is just hope these Mons stay asleep and he can just Sludge Bomb them both. Comfort stays asleep. There's a Sludge Bomb to take Comfort out. Clef does wake up though. There's the wake up again, and Venusaur now at half HP as Urshifu is about to come back into the field. Can it do anything against Urshifu here? I wouldn't have thought so. You know, one Wicked Blow from this Urshifu is going to really hurt. There is the Wicked Blow, and Venusaur goes down to the crit, and Dogsy takes game number 2 in a 2-0 fashion. Dave not standing a chance there up against that Urshifu. I've got to say, you know, Dave played that pretty well once the Dynamax did go down, but I think he will be regretting not Dynamaxing the Hatterene there rather than the Gliscod. That Gliscod running so slow, but massive shout outs to Dogsy. Played that super well. I don't think he could have predicted that the Salamence weakness policy proc, and I think that is something people are going to have to legitimately watch out for in the weeks to come. But a great 2-0, a great game to start things off, and Dogsy starting as he means to go on. Obviously, with the 2-0, that's going to mean at the moment he is the de facto lead of the British Pokemon League East Division, but we've got one more game to play in the British Pokemon League East Division, and it is Inglorious Surfers versus the Celtic Celebis. Now, Celtic Celebis are a brand new team coming into this season. And Draco has put together a strong team. Obviously, Dracovish makes its return from Season 1 in a brand new team. And keep an eye out for that Tapu Lele as well. Getting that Psychic Terrain up is going to be really big against any, you know, priority mons. That Driplim as well. We've seen Sucker Punch Weakness Policy proc on that Driplim work really well in the past. And that Rillaboom G-Max obviously ignores abilities such as Sap Sipper as well. So, not that there is any Sap Sipper on Aaron's team, but it's something to look out for these other players. It is a pretty strong team. And just as much is Aaron's. Aaron's also a strong squad put together. He's got Articuno Galar, which obviously has both elements of speed control. That Moltres Galar as well. 2 of the Galarian beds. This thing with Weakness Policy and Nasty Plot, and obviously that Berserk ability. This thing can go real hard if you've not got a way to stop it. Kingdra as well, as we saw on Toadstar Belgrade's team last season, can be really strong under the rain. And Damn Manitan as well is not something to sleep on. That thing's got super high attack, and with Scarf, it's it's hard to stop. And that Registeel, you know, you let it get a few iron defenses off and you're going to be in a little bit of bother. So hopefully Draco can put a stop on that. But I'm going to stop rambling now, and we're going to get straight into this game number 3. Inglorious Surfers versus Celtic Celebis. There is that Dam, the Registeel, and it's Haunter and the Stack Attacker leading the line for Draco, and Tapu Bulu and Hawlucha. Grassy Surge comes out from the Tapu Bulu obviously, and the Grassy Seed on the Hawlucha. That is going to proc presumably its Unburden ability. So that Hawlucha is going to be going that extra bit faster. Now it depends what kind of set the Draco is running on the Haunter here. Is he just going to go straight for Trick Room? Obviously 2 Trick Room users on the field for Draco, and potentially 2 Ally Switch users as well. So you can use that to great advantage. You know, he holds all the cards in terms of this and can keep Aaron guessing in this first turn. But you cannot sleep on that Bulu. That Bulu under grassy terrain. You know, if it just had the grassy glide, I keep saying it, the world would be in a year 3000. The Bulu does go for the Dynamax, and there's the Dynamax from the Stack Attacker. Well, there is the coaching from the Hawlucha, and the Sludge Bomb takes out the Bulu in the first turn. Aaron is going to be getting major flashbacks to Week 1, Game 1 of last season, and Hawlucha, thanks to that Grassy Seed, does manage to tank that Max Rockfall from the Stack Attacker, but absolutely disaster of a start from Aaron. His Dynamax burns straight away, and what a turn from Draco as Registeel comes in, presumably to start setting up some of those iron defenses so he can get some body presses going. If Draco has no way to maybe reset the stats or just take care of the Registeel full stop, then that could potentially be a problem. But Hawlucha is still kicking around. Is going to be going super fast right now, so Draco is going to need to watch out for that. Both taking their time deciding what they want to do, trying to figure each other out. The ally switch does come on the Haunter. There's the coaching onto the Registeel. That's going to help out on the Iron defense as well. 2.5 times defense. There's the Max Rockfall. It's going to take out the Hawlucha. So it's now a 4v2. Stack Attacker does get that beast boost as well to buff its defense just that little bit more. And in comes Darmanitan now. Darmanitan, as we said, is going to be hitting real hard. You would expect it to be running Choice Scarf with the potential for Choice Band. Depends how Aaron has obviously built that down. Some absolutely, can I just mention as well, some absolutely standout nicknames this this season in the British Pokemon League. Lego set and a Registeel standing. Really just absolute highlights. Who would have guessed Haunter though being able to take out a full Dynamax Tapu Bulu? I know it's 4 times weak to poison, but that was absolutely sensational. I don't think Aaron at all expected that and has really caught him off guard. But Aaron's not completely out of this yet. Obviously that Registeel is looking pretty well. There's the ally switch. The Flare Blitz hits in the Stack Attacker. Stack Attacker is not going to care much about that. There's the Iron defense hits again from the Registeel. There's the Max Steel Spike to give itself another defense buff and the Haunter a defense buff. Dam does hang on through that with just under half HP. The grassy terrain though is going to give HP back to all mons on the field. I would think that if Dam's able to get the right slot or is able to predict an ally switch here, Dam can do some great damage to Haunter. I don't know, if it is Scarf, it is locked in that Flare Blitz. I don't know if it's going to be doing all that much to Stack Attacker. There is the Flare Blitz, does hit in the Haunter, no ally switch this time. Haunter does go down, and the Flare Blitz does mean that the damage body press, but it's the Charty Berry from Stack Attacker. Stack Attacker does hang on and then takes out the Dam with the Gyro Ball, so, not the Charty Berry, sorry, the Chople Berry on the Stack Attacker keeps it around, and in comes the Waka Waka Lele. It's, it's Shakira on the field. Tapu Lele swaps in for the Psychic Terrain now. And Registeel with it all to do. Ally switch comes out from the Stack Attacker. The Nature's Madness takes Registeel down to half. Body press into the Lele. Lele is not going to care too much about that, but does do quite a big chunk of damage. I do think that Draco does have this now. Obviously, still has another Mon remaining in the back. Could be that Dracovish. Could be a Driftwind. We'll have to wait and see. Can this Registeel do anything? It's Registeel versus the world right now. Here we go then. Registeel gets hit with the Psychic. There is the body press to take out the Stack Attacker. Stack Attacker does now go down. It is now a 2v1, and there's the Dracovish. Dracovish swaps in. And I think this could be game number 1 going to Celtic Celebis. I think even with the defense buff, that Officious Rend is going to hit really, really hard on that Registeel, and with nowhere to keep itself going, it does come out with the Protect. That is maybe just stalling the inevitable here. The Substitute though comes out from the Dracovish. That could be really huge. And Dracovish now, you would think it's going to hit that Officious Rend, and this is going to take us on our next game. Can Aaron bring this back, or is Draco going to take a rather famous Week 1 win over Inglorious Surface? There is the Psychic onto the Registeel, and there is the Vicious Rend. It doesn't quite take it out though, 4% HP. Body press into the Waka Waka Lele, the Tapu Lele, and we go on another turn number 9. I would think this next turn now, it's going to go down. There's the Psychic to take it out. Game number 1 going to Draco. And we move on to game number 2. Can Aaron win this back? And he's went with a completely different lineup, as there is the Thundurus and the Kingdra. And it's Haunter and Driftwind this time for Draco. So Draco also switching things up here, trying to keep Aaron guessing, and Aaron doing vice versa as well, trying a completely different lineup. Now, is that Thundurus going to be running a Rain Dance here potentially? We obviously know it does get a few weather setters with its status moves, and because it's presumably it's Prankster, is going to be able to go first here and get that range set up for the Kingdra. Kingdra with that swift swim ability, you would like to presume, is going to be going uber fast at that point and is going to be hitting extra hard with the range set up. So Draco's going to need to be mindful of that. Here we go then, turn number 1. Both coaches just figuring each other out, figuring out what they want to go with. Trying to psych each other out. It's at this point in the game usually as well, you know, you've already made your picks and your opponent's taking a while, especially if the time isn't on. You start like second guessing yourself and changing, but there you go, the Drifblim does go for the Dynamax. There is the Kingdra as well. Sucker Punch comes out from the Haunter, activates that weakness policy and presumably that Unburden, and there's not a status move comes out from the Thundurus, and Thundurus goes down to that Max Phantasm. There's the Geyser into the Drifblim, does set up his own rain, but a huge turn there from Draco. A great start and gets a Mon down straight away. And it's an advantage to Draco. It's now 4v3. Does have that weakness policy set up for the Drifblim as well, as Tapu Bulu comes onto the field, gets that grassy terrain. So all the mons with any HP loss are going to be getting a bit of that health back. Protect comes out from the Bulu. There's the Max Ooze onto the Bulu. How much is that going to do for the Protect? It takes now below half. That's a sensational amount of damage. There is the Geyser into the Drifblim under the rain. Drifblim goes down for troubles and the Sludge Bomb just gets stopped by the Protect. And in comes the Tapu Lele to reset that terrain. So 2 Tapus on the field now. That Tapu Lele does potentially have a Dazzling Gleam, which Kingdra is not going to enjoy taking. But it is now 1 down apiece on the field. Aaron with 1 down. Draco with 1 down as well. And the swap out Hawlucha now swaps in. There is the Geyser. Lele does tank that Sludge Bomb onto the Hawlucha. Hawlucha goes straight down. There's the Dazzling Gleam. Kingdra doesn't quite go down to it, so that's potentially, you'd think maybe AV Kingdra to tank it like that. Tapu Bulu now swaps back in. It is now 2v3. Sludge Bomb just absolutely annihilating Hawlucha there. I don't think, again, anyone would have expected to see that. Haunter just putting in the absolute work here. It's first is taking out a Dynamax Tapu Bulu, and then a full health Hawlucha just didn't stand a chance. Absolutely unbelievable. You know, with that special attack buff just doing so much damage. Could this be it? Are we about to see a 2-0, another one in the East Division? Or can Aaron swing this around and bring it back the other way? Protect comes out from the Tapu Bulu. Ally Switch comes out, the Hurricane hits into the Haunter. Haunter doesn't mind that, but the Protect stops the Bulu from taking any hits. So no one goes down that 10, but Draco not able to take care of the Kingdra either. Obviously Aaron burning a Protect on the Bulu, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. He's kept the Kingdra alive, which is big. You know, while the rain's up, Hurricane's going to be doing a lot of damage. Any kind of water attack as well does obviously receive that rain boost. Number 5 then in this game. Number 2. There is the Icy Wind, does take out the Haunter and slows Tapu Lele down. That could be really big. Dazzling Gleam, but Kingdra does manage to hang on that, and the Tapu Bulu, and Bulu takes out the Lele with the Horn to get some of that HP back. And just in 1 turn, Aaron has turned it around. It is now 1v2. Draco with it all to do now. What is the final Pokemon? Yeah, the final Pokemon is Dracovish. Now, Dracovish has got to pick wisely which Pokemon to take out here. Could go for the Kingdra, but but then has to deal with the Bulu, or could go with the Bulu and hope he can tank maybe a Draco Meteor if Kingdra is running one, but I would doubt that you can. I think that's going to be game if that is the case. There is the Fisher's Wren into the Bulu. Bulu goes down. What can Kingdra do? There's the Draco Meteor. Ties us up at 1 apiece. Absolutely sensational stuff right down to the wire. Aaron taking us to a game number 3. Absolutely amazing game 2. Couldn't have called it. At one point it looked really difficult for Aaron to come back and get that, but he does manage to do it. And Draco brings back the game 1 duo of Haunter and Stack Attacker, and Aaron sticks with that winning formula. The Kingdra and the Mr. Thundurus. The Thundurus. God damn it, these nicknames. Now, obviously Aaron didn't go for a status move this time. Last game. And it did go down to that. Is it going to go for this time? Kingdra goes for Dynamax. Stack Attack goes for Dynamax. There's the Ally Switch. Rain Dance comes out from the Thundurus. There is the guy that takes the Haunted down with Sash. Rockfall comes out into the Thundurus, but that is a Charty Berry, so Thundurus doesn't go down and does get the sand up, but that sand's going to take out the Haunted for Draco. That's a bit of a disaster there. Unfortunate on his end there. Maybe he wasn't expecting it to go right down with Sash, but oh. First blood to Aaron in this game number 3, this deciding game. To see who takes this week 1 win. Stack Attacker still with its Dynamax, obviously. Has that sand up as well to get that special defense buff. And in comes the Lele to get Psychic Surge. Now, we've guessed at this point that the Kingdra is a Celebis. It's been taking those Dazzling Gleams pretty handedly. But obviously, Draco does have that option to try and do some chip damage right now. I would imagine he's going to try and take out the Thundurus here. Just to stop those support moves going off. You know, potentially and re-impulse something. But, you know, with that Psychic Terrain, that is going to completely put any of its status moves that would affect Draco to a halt. So Aaron's got to either go for an attack here, or, you know, if he's got some sort of helping hand or something that can aid Kingdra. The Rain Dance comes out, does set up the rain again. The guys are in the Stack Attacker does manage to hang on. There's a Psychic into the Kingdra and the Rockfall into the Thundurus to reset the weather. Stops that rain going up, and obviously Aaron now cannot get that rain set up back up again unless he's able to hit a Max Geyser off here and get that rain back up itself. But no Rain Dance proc to get that damage. Stack Attacker, insane that it kept itself up there and didn't go down. Honestly, would have fully expected Stack Attacker to, under the rain, to just absolutely get annihilated there, but what a beefy Pokemon. As we would say in England, built like a brick shithouse is Stack Attacker. As I said, Lele still sits beside it. Damn, Manatine has swapped into the field now. Max Guard comes out from the Stack Attacker. There's the Flare Blitz into the Lele. Lele goes down. Darmanitan taking a bit of chip damage, and the Max Geyser doesn't go off because of the Max Guard, and he doesn't get the rain set up. Now, the rain could have potentially been bad for that Darmanitan, so maybe a good thing it didn't go up, but yeah, the way in comes the Rillaboom now. So Rillaboom up against Dam and Kingdra could be quite problematic here for Draco to come back with. You know, that Dam's going to be moving real fast here, and I don't know that a Grassy Glide's going to be able to do enough, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe if it's choice banded, full attack investment, Rillaboom can maybe do a bit of damage to Kingdra here, but we'll have to wait and see. If it doesn't, you know, the Dam is going to take it out. There's the Grassy Glide, and Kingdra doesn't go down. There's the Flare Blitz into the Rillaboom, and the Icy Wind comes out from the Kingdra, takes out Stack Attacker, and Aaron takes game number 3, match number 3, gets his first win of the season, 1-0 on the board. Exactly the sort of start he was wanting. Absolutely phenomenal games, honestly. You couldn't have called it either way. Great games to both guys, you know, solid start from Draco. Looking like a really, really strong player. You know, I kept Aaron guessing that entire time, and I said Aaron played that superbly. Big shout out to both coaches. Aaron making as we said, the ideal start, and that is going to move him to joint first. So Dogsy, though, going to be taking first in the British Pokemon League East table. But before we get onto league tables, we have got the West Division to take a look at. And first off the bat, it is the Bulu Boys taking on the Slithering Sceptiles. Last season's regular season champions, the Bulu Boys, taking on the new team of the Slithering Sceptiles. So, Bulu Boys have put together a bit of an awkward team this season, but it's a team that's sort of very well known to Series 7, minus an Urshifu. So you've got the Colossal G-Max, and you've got the Dragonite Blacephalon, a few mons in there that could potentially proc a steam engine on there or a weakness policy. Some strong ones in there. Obviously with either Gut or Defiant could be something to sort of be a bit afraid of. And Clorts as well under Trick Room with that Mega Launcher ability. Hits real hard. Tornadus has got that Prankster ability as well. Really good support one to be set up there. And it's another strong team, but we'll have to wait and see how it does. And on the other side of the coin, Slithering Sceptiles, one of our new guys, Jabba, He's built a real strong team, as we talked about in pre-season. There's potential for T-Tar to run with Dracozolt to get that Sandra set up. Dracozolt can hit real hard with that Bolt Beak. And has on the other side of the coin, you've got Bronzong to be able to set up that Trick Room. Togekiss with the redirection there can run as Follow Me, or as we've seen in last season, can run as a special attacker. Arcanine's there with the Intim, can maybe stop some of those physical attackers. And you've got Lopunny as well, which is, a real good support mon. And can't forget as well about Sandaconda G-Max. If it gets its G-Max move off, works pretty much the same as Center Scorches, gets them locked in and is doing that chip damage. But without further ado, let's take a look at game number 1 of week 1 of the British Pokemon League West Division Bully Boys versus Slithering Sceptiles. And it is the Tyranitar and Dracozolt to lead the line, and it's Rillaboom and Tornadus on the side of the Bully Boys to kick things off. Grassy terrain goes up, and obviously the Sandstorm goes up for the Tyranitar. Now, you would presume that Dracozolt is going to be running that Sand Rush ability to enable it to go first. Then both coaches picking what they want to do. That Rillaboom obviously has the option of maybe hitting the T-Tar. T-Tar's not going to enjoy taking a Grassy Glide or potentially a Wood Hammer if the Bully Boys are running it. But that being said, Godzilla does Dynamax. I would imagine it can probably tank one of those, and Rillaboom goes for its Dynamax. No Dynamax on the side of Jabba, but the Bulbig does take out the Tornadus, and there's the Dragon Dance on the T-Tar. Gets attack and speed up. Max Quake comes out from the Rillaboom and takes out the Dracozolt for trouble. So turn 1, 2 trades. And it's 3v3. Good start from both, but I said both T-Tar and Rillaboom full start and full health. Arcanine swaps in, and the Obstagoon swaps in, and does have that Defiant ability, so gets its attack buff there as well. Arcanine unknowingly buffing the Obstagoon. That could potentially be an issue for the Tyranitar. Obviously, Rillaboom's not going to enjoy facing up against that Arcanine. Arcanine could be running that maybe like the Extreme Speed or Heat Wave. But I also got to watch out as well for those Snarls. Arcanine well known for running that. So Jabba still not chosen to use his Dynamax on turn 1, but you would expect it to come this turn. And there is the Tyranitar, does go for its Dynamax. Max Rockfall comes out into the Obstagoon. Obstagoon just about hangs on. And there's the close combat. T-Tar doesn't quite go down, just about lives and hangs on to that. There's the Heat Wave, does miss the Rillaboom, but that is going to be able to take out the Obstagoon. There's the Max Quake into the Arcanine, and Arcanine unfortunately not going down for the Bully Boys. So advantage to Jabba. He's got 2 Mons down on the side of Bulu. And in comes the Dragonite now. Now this could potentially be big, because that T-Tar is going very fast, and I don't think the Dragonite can take a Rough-Roar here, so it could be Rillaboom with it all to do against an Arcanine and a T-Tar, which is not what you want. There's the Rough-Fall into the Dragonite. Dragonite goes straight down, another one-hit KO. There's a Heat Wave into T-Tar. T-Tar doesn't mind, not T-Tar, Rillaboom doesn't quite mind that. Max Overgrowth into the T-Tar, does take it down. It is 1v2. Rillaboom versus Arcanine, and whatever is in the back for Jabba, that's not a great spot for Bully Boys to be in. In comes the Sandaconda, obviously no G-Max from the Sandaconda, so not going to be setting up that move, but does need to watch out for the Sand Spit. Sand is already set up though, so not to worry too much. Now, he's got to choose wisely here. Obviously, he does have that attack drop, which could be really, really huge. I don't think the Sandaconda would go down to an attack drop. Grassy Glide, we'll have to wait and see, but does he maybe go for the high horsepower onto Arcanine to try and take that out, or maybe the Grassy Glide into the Arcanine? I doubt it would be enough with that attack drop. There's the Extreme Speed, and the Rillaboom does get the crit as well. There's the Grassy Glide, only just over half damage to the Sandaconda, and does proc the weakness policy on Sandaconda. There's the Drill Run, sorry, I keep calling that T-Tap. Rillaboom doesn't quite go down. That Sandstorm damage does do a bit of chip, but the grassy terrain does keep Rillaboom around. I think this is going to be game number 1 to Slithering Sceptiles. A great start here from Jabba, exactly the sort of start he'll have wanted to kick things off. All Matt can really go for, all the Rillaboom can do is Grassy Glide here at this point, but there's the Extreme Speed, doesn't quite take Rillaboom out. There is the Grassy Glide into Sandaconda. Sandaconda goes down, but I think this is going to be it. I don't think that that it can do anything, and of course that extreme speed going fast. It's doing 17% and only 16% damage left on Rillaboom, so this is going to be game number 1 to Slithering Sceptiles. Not an ideal start for Bulu Boys, but still plenty of time to bring it back. So now nothing to worry about yet, but a great start for Jabba. There's the extreme speed, as we said, to take it out. As we move on into game number 2. Are we going to see a switch up here? But there is the Obstagoon this time and the Tornado. So switching it up on the side of Matt, and there is the Dracozolt and the Tyranitar. That Dracozolt is going to be going extra fast thanks to that Sand Rush ability. Is Matt going to keep Tornadus around? Obviously a Bolt Beak into that Tornadus is going to be all she wrote. You know, it got OHKO'd the first game. I don't think the Bulu Boys can really afford to get a Mon taken out straight off the bat. So what does Bulu Boys do? What can we get going? There is the Obstagoon with the Dynamax. Tonka's on the T-Tail. That's a big mistake. Obviously, Dark type immune to Prankster moves. So the Tornadus does go down the Bolt Beak anyway. There's the Hailstorm into the Dracozolt. Dracozolt not quite going down to that. And Dragon Dance does get a go off again for the T-Tar. But that is a huge mishap on the side of Bulu Boys. In comes the Rillaboom though. Can maybe at least get something going. Massive mistake though there on turn number 1. Not the start the Bulu Boys needed into this game too. Obviously you can still bring it back, but a Mon down, so advantage to Jabba. Is the Grassy Glide on Rillaboom enough to take out T-Tar? You would expect T-Tar to go for its Dynamax now. But it doesn't. There's the Grassy Glide, and T-Tar does go down, gets the crit as well. And the Hailstorm onto the Dracozolt, obviously no weather to buff the Dracozolt speed, and Dracozolt goes down also, so a great turn 2 from Bulu Boys, gets himself back in after that big mistake turn 1. Arcanine swaps in, is going to proc that Defiant ability on the Obstagoon, and in comes Togekiss now. Togekiss could be potentially running that Follow Me, or it could be a special attack build. If it is a special attack build, as I said, a Dazzling Gleam. Obstagoon is not going to enjoy taking one of those. Obstagoon still with his Dynamax, and Jabba still has his Dynamax available now. Which to go for? The Arcanine goes for its Dynamax though. Follow Me comes out for Togekiss. There's the Hailstorm at the Togekiss. Togekiss goes straight down to that with the attack buffed Obstagoon. There's the Flare into the Rillaboom. Rillaboom not quite going down to that. And there is the high horsepower into the Arcanine. Not really doing all that much with that attack drop thanks to Intimidate. But it is now 1v3 for Jabba. This looks like Bulu Boys have got themselves right back into this game. We said after a complete disaster of a turn 1. But Jabba does have the advantage of having all of his Dynamax turns now. There is the close combat in the Arcanine. It's not really doing much and does drop the defense on Obstagoon. Max Strike comes out onto the Rillaboom. That's going to slow Obstagoon down, but it's going to buff that Defiant ability to attack. Rillaboom goes down instead to the Max Strike, and in comes the Dragonite. What has Dragonite got in its locker? Can it do something to at least try and take out the Arcanine? As I said, has slowed down the Obstagoon, but if Dragonite's running a water move here, it could do enough to take out the Arcanine. Obstagoon with that buffed attack. I think even with that, the Aqua Tail goes, but it misses the Arcanine. There's the Quake into the Obstagoon, gets its special defense up. Close combat into the Arcanine, takes it down to 20% HP, so again, not quite taking it out. Does take another defense and special defense drop as well for Obstagoon. So this is potentially looking quite scary now. If Matt can't get rid of his Arcanine, you know, another attack on that Obstagoon and it's potentially going to go down. But you would think if an Aqua Tail is able to hit this time, it's going to be enough to take Arcanine. But the Aqua Tail misses again! Oh, insane Aqua Tail misses! Heat Wave misses the Dragonite, but it is going to take out Obstagoon. It is now a 1v1. Does Matt risk the Aqua Tail again? Is it third time lucky to get the Aqua Tail off? Or is it going to miss once again? And does Arcanine have the perfect opportunity to win the game here at 2-0? Which would be a perfect start for one of our new boys. There's the Aqua Tail. Does hit this time and ties us up at 1 apiece. Dragonite getting the killing blow as we move on into game number 3. This time it is the Dragonite and Tornadus and Sandaconda and Lopunny this time. So Jabba trying something completely different on his side. And what has Matt got up his locker? It's completely changed up again for a third game running. Looks like Dragonite is going for its Dynamax here. Do we see the G-Max come out of the Sandaconda? Is the Sandaconda going to go for its G-Max ability? There's the G-Max going from the Sandaconda, D-Max from the Obsidian. Swagger goes, but Swagger misses the Dragonite as well. After you goes from the low pony, there's Rockfall into the Tornadoes. Chartyberry just keep it around. Guys, it hits into the Sandaconda, but it's not going to do as much. Does proc that weakness policy in Sandaconda, and the Sand Spit resets the weather to the sand, getting that special defense buff. There's the Swagger, hits this time, does get the attack buff. The Lumberry is going to stop that confusion hit, and there's the After You once again. Goes this time for the Dragonite. Dragonite hangs on though with 20%. There's the guys hitting the Sandaconda. Takes the Sandaconda out this time, but that Sand Spit is going to reset the weather, so no weather boost for the Dragonite. Low Pony still kicking around, and in comes the Drake. Now this is a bad situation because the sand is set up for Dracozolt now. This could be really huge. Obviously, Dragonite is not going to survive a Bolt Beak from Dracozolt, which would inevitably go first. But there's the taunt on the low, but you stop that after you're gone. But it doesn't matter because Bolt Beak's going to go first. Anyway, Dragonite goes down. There's the U-turn onto the Tornadoes. Low Pony's going to swap out of there. In comes Arcanine to get that Intimop, and because Obstacune's not on the field, it's not going to get the benefit of that Defiant proc now. It came on the field after Arcanine swapped in, so no Defiant attack buff for Obstacune, the final one on the team. And I think this could be it, unfortunately. I don't think Matt's got anything to reply to Dracozolt. Horrible, horrible first week loss for our regular season 1 champion, but a great, famous win for Slithering Sceptiles. Jabba playing that absolutely to perfection. Gets the 2-1 over the Bulu Boys. And that is all she wrote. Bulu Boys losing out their first week game. Slithering Sceptiles playing that absolutely brilliantly. Massive shout out to Jabba. GG's to the guy. Played that really, really well. Really, really good player. It looks like we've got another solid player on our hands in the league. So, was pretty disappointed with that one. But as we always say, there's plenty more Pokemon still left to play. Alright, my guys, we're going to move on to our next game. We have got up next Silly's Long Island Goomies taking on 200 Candies. Now, Silly has adopted quite a bit of quite a few of the ones from other teams from last season, but you know, Silly always got something up his sleeve, as we always say. Has got that Indeedee female and the Hatterene G-Max. We know how strong that can be with the G-Max Smite. The Zapdos Galar as well as Slowbro Galar, which we saw Miami Heat use last season to great use with their Copycat Trick Room. Starmie as well, also hanging around in there. Nothing to sleep on is another Trick Room setter. And he's brought the Sudowoodo and the Fletchling back from Season 1, so no doubt has something that he's playing close to his chest to work against Candies here. And on the side of 200 Candies, it's a bit of I hate to use mismatch in a negative term, because it's not at all, but there's all sorts going on here. You've got Dragapult with Terrakion for maybe a beat-up player, or Dragapult could be full physical Dragapult. You've got Nihilego in here, which is a really strong Ultra Beast. You've got Chansey and Shuckle as well, and we know how potentially risky that can be, but if it works, you get the Guard Split and the evasion off, then, Chansey's just impossible to stop, and you can just stall your opponent out. Snorlax G-Max as well. If he's got 2 Rage Powder Mons on there, if they can get a Rage Powder off and Snorlax can get that Belly Drum going, Snorlax can really, really hit hard with that 4 times attack boost, and the G-Max Replenish can just keep itself around. But I'm going to get straight into this next game. We're going to be going at a quicker pace here because we recorded straight from a replay, so I do apologise if I'm a bit unable to keep up, but let's get straight into it. Long Island Goomies taking on 200 Candies, and Indeedee Hat lead the line for Silly. And it's Porygon 2 and Snorlax on the side of Candy, so not what we expected, but that P2 does make experience. G-Max Hatterene comes out. There's the Ally Switch from the Porygon. The Expanding Force hits them both. Belly Drum comes out from the Snorlax. Snorlax just about hanging on, but does have a Papa Berry to get itself back with half HP. There's the G-Max Smite on the P2. Gets the double confusion, doesn't quite take out the P2, so that P2 obviously running quite a bulky set. There's the G-Max from the Snorlax. Max Guard comes out from the Hat. Ally Switch on the P2. P2's going to get taken out by that Expanding Force, and G-Max Replenish to hit that Hatterene, but Hatterene's not going to care thanks to that Max Guard. And there is the Chansey, and it starts minimizing the confusion hits the Snorlax on, it hits itself, and Smite is going to take the Snorlax out. So it is now already 4v2 on the side of, for Silly with the full advantage here. There's the Expanding Force. Shuckle Going to keep that around. Chansey does hit itself and doesn't get that evasion, but the guard split does hit off and Trick Room goes up. So Chansey looking really, really strong now. And the Expanding Force does take out the Shuckle, but Chansey versus the world has got the Toxic off as well from the Shuckle. There's the Expanding Force. Chansey now can potentially just keep soft boiling and just keep itself going up. There's the Expanding Force into the Chansey. Confusion does end. Minimizes again to stop that evasion. 2.3 the evasion. Expanding Force is going to miss. There is the haze from the Dragalge though. That could be really big. Stops that evasion being annoying. Obviously, Candies now knows he can't sit there and minimize. He's got to just go for it and Sludge Bomb. Expanding Force hit into Chansey. Seismic Toss is going to be doing that chip damage. But I think this is going to be it. In comes Zapdos now. Zapdos obviously is going to have a super effective damage move on the Chansey with its Thunderous Kick. But we move on into turn, and there's the Thunderous Kick. But Chansey, just look how tanky it is. Does get the defense drop, but is able to just soft boil and just keep itself around as Expanding Force goes off again. There's the Thunderous Kick. How much longer can Chansey take? This gets another defense drop, even with the soft boil. I think another one is going to take it out, and that is going to be game number 1. Is it? There's the Thunderous Kick. Chansey just still doesn't quite go down. Soft boils again. There is the Dazzling Gleam. Chansey down 4%. Hat goes down thanks to the Life Orb damage. In comes Indeedee. Gets the Psychic Terrain back up. I think this is now going to be it. Gets the Psychic Seed off for the Zapdos. Thunderous Kick goes off. The game number 1 goes to Long Island. Gummy's a great start from Silly there as we move straight on into game 2. And it's Dragapult Terrakion on the side of Candies. And that is going to be Hat and Indeedee once again for the side of Silly. Obviously not going to change a winning formula. Worked pretty well for him. Terrakion does swap out in because of the P2 to get the download, but only gets an attack of Dragapult. Goes straight for its Dynamax. Follow Me comes out. There is the Wormwind into the Indeedee. Indeedee goes straight down, so no Sash on Indeedee. Trick Room does go for Hat. So Follow Me does enable the Trick Room to at least go up, but in comes the Dragalge. Ally Switch comes out. There's the G-Max Smite into the P2. P2 goes down about half HP. Gets the Confusion for his troubles. Is it going to hit? There's a Dragapult just about hangs on though through that. And the Max Phantasm is going to take out Hatterene, so the Confusion doesn't land and Hatterene goes down for its troubles. But the Life Orb Dragapult is going to take itself out, so it is now a 2v3. Snorlax now swaps into the field. There is the Belly Drum. Gets its attack buff. Papavari gets that health back up. Sludge Bomb gets the poison off on the Snorlax. Recover comes out from the P2. Thunderous Kick is going to take out that Snorlax. And now we have our 2v2. Now we have a game on a real big game on our hands. Protect comes out from Terrakion. There is the Haze to reset all stats. Thunderous Kick is blocked by that Protect. Confusion doesn't land and Trick Room does get reversed. There's the Rock Slide on both Zapdos and the Dragon. The Flinch does hit. There's a Sludge Bomb onto P2. Protect comes out again from Terrakion. It's going to stop that Thunderous Kick from landing. So Candy's just perfectly able to just stall this out and keep him at bay. And P2 just able to keep recovering. Does get the poison off. How big could that be? 5% HP. P2 just hanging on. And it's a double Protect from Silly. And Dragalge and obviously Zapdos not going to take any damage for their troubles there. But Recover does allow P2 to stay in the game. There's the Rock Slide from Terrakion. Does take out Galarian Zapdos. And Ice Beam is going to be enough to tie us up at 1 apiece. Candy's playing that perfectly after looking in a pretty difficult position. And we move on to a game number 3. Indeedee Zapdos now this time. Silly is going to swap it up. In comes the Snorlax. In comes the Dragapult. Psychic Terrain goes up thanks to that Indeedee. And there is that Psychic Seed as well for Zapdos. Helping Hand comes out on the Zapdos as well. The Thunderous Kick not quite taking out Snorlax. Snorlax just about hangs on with 1% HP. Wormwind is going to take out the Indeedee and does drop the attack, but does proc that Define on the Zapdos. That could be really, really huge. The Giga Impact not able to take out the Zapdos either, and now Snorlax has to recharge. Hatterene goes for his G-Max, gets the Max Guard off. The Drill Peck and the Dragon Ball not quite doing enough. Phantasm is stopped by that Protect. Snorlax obviously doesn't move thanks to that Giga Impact, and Thunderous Kick is going to be enough to take it out. First one down for Candies. Phantasm does take out the Hatterene though, so it's now a 2v3 for Silly. Zapdos and is it Starmie? What have we got in the back? Zapdos and Starmie with it all to go. The Matt Starmie. And the Expanding Force takes out the Dragapult. Thunderous Kick. Drill Pick. Sorry, not quite enough to take out the P2. There's the Expanding Force and Starmie takes it out. Gets the win for Silly. Absolutely sensational stuff at the end there. Silly getting the 2-1 win over Candies. Starmie putting in the work at the end there. Matt Starmie. Great nickname. We love that from Silly. Great games to both coaches. That was a really fun game to watch back. Really close games from both. Honestly, that game 3 looked a pretty difficult position for Silly. He was able to bring it back, and that expanding force with the psychic terrain up. Honestly, just unstoppable, and Candy's had no answer for it. So Silly gets his first win on the board. And as we move on to our final game of week 1, it is Miami Heat versus the California Bastions. California Bastions, one of our new teams, as we've already mentioned. These two have quite the history between themselves. Latvian, as we've already mentioned in pre-season, he's pretty much built his Season 1 team, plus made it a bit better, to be honest. It's got that Glacier and Ashfu single strike this time alongside Whimsicott. It's got the Machamp back and the Blastoise and Cinderace. G-Max has upgraded this time from the Slowbro Galar to the Slowking Galar, so even stronger than its Prevo, and has got Morgrem and Pincurchin, so a lot of Prankstermons in there and a lot of heavy damage hitters. So Latvian is going to be really hard to stop. And on the side of California Bastions, Omolite has got a very interesting team against some really strong mons. See, Scolipede and is nothing to sort of shake your fist at that thing with the sword stance. If able to get going with its speed boost ability, hard to stop. Airshrew Rapid Strike is his G-Max, so we know how strong that is with the Surging Strikes. And Metagross as well, potentially there for a weakness policy prop of a Bulldoze or something along those lines, or a Brutal Swing if there's one kicking around. Keep an eye on Hitmon on top as well. That thing running as a support mon is very, very, very strong. Without further ado, as I say again, we'll go into our final game of week 1, Miami Heat versus California Bastions. Cinderace and Morgrem leading the line for Latvian, and it's going to be Hitmontop, and what is his second one? The Sylveon for California Bastions. Intim does drop the Cinderace attack, but Whiteherb stops that stat from going down. Protect comes out from the Sylveon, the Fake Out's going to get blocked by that. There is the Max Knuckle into Hitmontop to buff Cinderace's attack. Does change its type to fighting, gets the Libero ability off. Hitmontop doesn't quite go down. That gets the close combat off, and does have the eject pack, which means from the stat drop it does get a free swap out as Dugtrio now swaps in. Reflect goes up from the Morgrem, and there's Bulldoze to slow Cinderace down. But it does get the G-Max Fireball off, changes the ability back to fire, and takes Sylveon out. And that is one mon down already for California Bastions. Metagross comes in and gets paralyzed by that Thunder Wave. Bulldoze comes off to proc that weakness policy on the Metagross, but oh man, a Fireball from the Cinderace. I think it's going to do it, and there it is. Takes Metagross out in 2 turns. Cinderace has taken 2 mons out. It's 2 final turns of G-Max, and they're gone. Intim comes out from the Hitmontop. It's going to load that Cinderace attack, but the para on the Hitmontop is going to start with Bulldoze. Does eventually take out that Cinderace. Cinderace too hot for Oma to handle, and Airshrew now swaps in. Latvian barely breaking a sweat in his first game. Wide Guard comes out to stop it taking a speed drop from that Bulldoze. That Bulldoze is going to slow Airshrew down. Is that going to matter though? Because there's the Wicked Blow into Hitmontop, and now Dugtrio has it all to do. Could this be game 1? Thunderwave it's not going to hurt that Dugtrio. It is immune. But there is the Wicked Blow. Dugtrio goes down into Oko, and Latvian takes the game 1 pretty damn handedly. This time it is Oma swapping in with the Scolipede and Amoonguss, so changing how he wants to do it. I would think we're going to see a Rage Powder and Sword Stance from that Scolipede and Amoonguss duo. Cinderace going straight for its G-Max. Fake Out stops that Amoonguss from doing any Rage Powder. There is the Max Fireball into Scolipede. Does take it down with Sash, so I think it's still going to get the Sword Stance off, thankfully, and it's going to get that Speed Boost, so it is running the Speed Boost ability. Scolipede now goes for its Dynamax. Rage Powder comes out from the Amoonguss. Flutter by there after the Reflect from the Morgrem. Morgrem not quite going down thanks to its own Sash. And there is the Fireball onto the Amoonguss. So Amoonguss goes down on turn 2. Another speed boost for Scolipede. So Scolipede's starting to look quite scary, even though with only 1% HP. Gets that Max Guard off to stop the Thunder Wave. And the Max Guard stops the Airstream hitting as well. Cinderace now changes type to Flying. There's the speed boost once again as Cinderace's G-Max does end Sylveon, getting that Substitute off. Thunder Wave hitting this time for Scolipede. There's the Max Quake, but it's immune thanks to that flying ability. And the Pyro Ball misses the Scolipede. There's the Hyper Voice to take out the Morgrem. It's all happening in this game too. Scolipede still just hanging on now with that 3 times speed. It is parried though, as in comes Airshrew alongside that Cinderace. Metagross does swap in, and Airshrew swaps back out for Slowbro. There's the Pyro Ball, but it does miss the Sylveon. Hyper Voice now comes out at Sylveon with that special attack boost thanks to that Throw Spin, but the Pyro Ball is going to hit the Metagross again. Metagross goes down. Metagross barely getting a chance to do anything here. Substitute taking, saving that Sylveon from taking any damage. Protect comes out from the Scolipede. There's the Pyro Ball finally take out the Sylveon Substitute. Mystical Fire is going to drop that Slowking special attack, so Sylveon not going to quite go down to Slowking. Attack fails and Celebis. He had to go for the double. The Pyro Ball misses. Substitute comes out again from Sylveon, and there is the Trick Room from Slowking. Great play from Latvian there. Really, really clever stuff. There's the Mystical Fire on the Slowking. Drop that special attack a little bit more, but I don't think it's going to matter. Pyro Ball finally does hit on the Scolipede. It's now Sylveon with all to do, and it's a 2-0 for Latvian. Latvian coming out absolutely swinging in week 1. Gets the 2-0 win, and that's going to take Latvian to the first, the number 1 spot in the British Pokemon League West Division table. Speaking of the table, let's take a quick look. Oops, apologies. Let's just get that up a second. Hold the phone. Hold the seconds. There we are. We're up. There is our British Pokemon League tables. As you can see, Latvians, Miami Heat, Shadowkings, Dogsy Shadowkings, both top their respective divisions. Goomies and Silvering Sceptiles follow Latvian in 2nd and 3rd in the West Division. Meanwhile, Torsdale, Belgrade, and Aaron's Inglorious Surfers 2nd and 3rd in the East Division. Bulio is taking a surprising loss, but, you know, that's not to take anything away from Jabba. Jabba proved himself to be a solid player. Down there in 4th, just above Candies and California Bastiodons. And on the other side, Celtic, Celebis, Croydon Saws, and Newcastle Thundurus fill out the final few spots. But that is going to do it for week 1. Next week, we've got some really, really huge games coming up for you. We have got Bulu Boys taking on Latvians Miami Heat. It is a repeat of the Season 1 Grand Final between these two. Bound to be an absolute thriller game. Moving on from that, we've got the Long Island Goomies taking on the California Bastiodons as 200 Candies take on the Slivering Sceptiles. So 2 of the new boys in the West Division taking on each other. Shadowkings, Dogsy Shadowkings taking on the Inglorious Surfers. So Aaron looking for a little bit of revenge to Dogsy took him out in the Season 1 playoffs. South Croydon Saws taking on the Celtic Celebis. So another game where it's 2 new boys taking on each other. And of course, we have got the huge local derby between Torstar Belgrade and Newcastle Thundurus. Ought to be a big game. These two have a lot of history, so look out for that. That is going to do it for me today, though. I hope you've really enjoyed this week 1 show. I will catch you all next week, back at our normal time of 1 o'clock on Sunday on this here Twitch channel, twitch.tv/British Pokemon League. I've been your host, Matt Starr. I will see you around. Mwah.